one other development that we are monitoring for you. That has to do with the issue regarding the Ameri deal and the government of Ghana. So, the Honorable Minister appointed by the President inaugurated a 17-member committee on February 1, 2017 to review, restructure and recommend areas for amendment of the Build, Own, Operate and Transfer Agreement that was dated on the 10th of February 2015 between the Government of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Power, and the Africa Middle East Resources Investment Group, LLC, that is represented, or now we known as the Ameri Energy. And when they are done, they will submit a report within a 2-week period. The agreement was signed as an emergency power agreement to help reduce the power supply deficit at the time, and the project was expected to be delivered within 90 days after the fulfillment of conditions precedent. The delay in implementing the agreement defeated its classification as an emergency report. The committee reviewed the agreement based on its technical, financial and legal merits or demerits, and identified issues that should form the basis for a renegotiation of the agreement with Ameri. Even though the plant is operational, several omissions and concessions were made in the agreement which require renegotiation, amendments and restructuring of the agreement. We've been joined on via Skype by Ishmael Ejekum-Hene, and I would want to put a few questions to him with regard to the deal. Mr. Ejekum-Hene, thank you very much and for your time for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, to start with, the committee that has been set up has come up with two clear things, at least to everybody. We have heard the two. Either they are going to abrogate the contract or they might look at a renegotiation. How does this hit you as a country that needed the power resources? And with this coming up, are we likely to see maybe a judgment debt situation?
Let me say good afternoon to your viewers. I think judgment debt, it's at this stage, let's even stay off that. I'm happy it's been done by, the committee is headed by a legal person, and I've cited some of the recommendations, and they're saying that if Ameri, for example, refuses to come to the table, the contract should be abrogated for fraud. And for me, if that is established, then the contract could be or can be cancelled, and there will be no ramification. Of course, you expect Ameri to fight it if it gets to that. But I think, I haven't read the full report, but I've seen that the committee is saying that there are real challenges and on all fronts, technical, financial, and also legal lapses in the agreement. You wonder how Parliament ended up passing approving that deal if these things were have actually been established by this committee. You wonder how our Parliament overlooked all of those or didn't pay attention to that. But if truly these issues have been established in the contract, then I think asking them to come back to the table is a good step. But as I said, they're not going to just lie down and say cancel the contract. They're going to seriously contest it. But
right.
If what we are reading from this report is true, then we have enough grounds to say that they can go to court.
All right, Mr. Ejekum-Hene, just kindly hold your thoughts for me, because we've also been joined on the phone lines by John Jinapor, who is a member of Parliament and then also a former Deputy Minister for Power. Mr. John Jinapor, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost him on the line. But back to the issue. When we do, we'll work the lines to raise John Jinapor again and put a few questions to him, because it was under his government that we had the agreement signed between the two entities, that's government and then Ameri. But from the indications, if government says that, the current administration says, Mr. Ejekum-Hene, they say they are likely to renegotiate or because they've described it as fraudulent, Ameri would have to come and clarify themselves. If they are to renegotiate, what would you think the focus should be?
I think anything illegal will not stand in law. So, I mean, if this committee is convinced to come up with such recommendations, then if it's illegal, it's illegal. And those things, that should constitute enough ground for abrogation. But if, like I'm seeing from some portions of the report, if it's a matter of something that somebody needs to come and clarify before we know whether fraud could be established, then yes, let them come to the table. The issues that we have in dispute, we should point it out to them and let them explain it. But I see portions of the report saying that something like 150 million US dollars is going to be paid to somebody as commission, and that has to be revised and reviewed. I mean, these things are fraudulent. I mean, $150 million for commission, if it's true, then there's something seriously wrong. But mind you, it's not as if this is coming to anybody as a surprise. Civil society organizations said that there's something fundamentally wrong with the Ameri deal, but it was pushed through Parliament. But I always say that in matters like this, I don't blame the executive. I will always blame the members of Parliament, the people we have elected and have paid to go and sit there to protect the national interest.
Okay.
Why would you pass such an agreement if truly the things that we are hearing now from the committee actually existed in the agreement? What were they
hold on
looking
briefly.
at? Is it that they didn't understand that?
Hold on briefly for me. John Jenapo has joined us. Mr. Jenapo, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Right, to start with, have you had the privilege to see the report of the current administration's committee that is reviewing the Ameri deal? And if you have, what do you say to the fact that they've described it as fraudulent?
Thank you. May I know whether I'm clear, because I'm driving from Koforidua to Accra. I want to be sure it's clear.
It is slightly noisy, but we'll manage.
Okay, thank you. First of all, as I said, I'm driving from Koforidua to Accra. I have not cited that report except this afternoon when I think one of your producers did me a favor by sending it to me by WhatsApp. I'm still on the way coming to Accra, and so I haven't looked at the report. I am not aware there was a committee put in place to investigate the Ameri contract. Nobody contacted me from that ministry. I've spoken to my minister who led us during the Ameri contract process, Honorable Dr. Kovnadonko. He's also indicated that he has not been contacted. And I would assume that these are reports coming from the media. In as much as I respect you and trust your information, let me just put on record that myself and the minister responsible at that time is not been contacted by the committee.
Okay.
We don't even know the details of that report. And so when I get to Accra, I intend meeting my minister. We'll look at it and we'll respond appropriately.
All right, Mr. Jenapo, but the concern, another concern that has been raised has to do with the fact that the deal was given parliamentary approval, and would want to ask whether you think that while you were at the ministry, due diligence was done by Parliament before the deal was approved.
Parliament is a master of its own rules. Parliament's duty is to have oversight responsibility over we, the executive. We did the best that we could. I do recall that it went through all the processes from procurement, from cabinet, through to Parliament. Parliament has representation from both the MPP and the NDC. And as far as I'm concerned, this contract was approved by consensus from both sides. And so, if you ask me off the cuff, I can just tell you that we went through all the necessary processes, all the laid down processes. And so, I don't even know who chaired this committee. I don't know when the committee was constituted. I don't know their mandate. I don't know their scope. I don't know their terms of reference. I don't know how they went about their job in order to come to this finality. But as I said, we shall look at all these issues and make a determination going forward.
Certainly, we'll come back to you after you're able to get some more information. But before you leave, though, do you agree that the ministry flipped or overlooked a lot of the concerns that were raised by some civil society organizations? Because right when we heard about this Ameri deal, some concerns were raised about government having to do due diligence by proper consultation, ensuring that all I's are dotted and all T's are crossed before going ahead. When these concerns were raised, did government take it seriously to look through it before assenting our signature as a country?
Let me just say that to the best of my knowledge, I do know that we did broad stakeholder consultation. In the process of signing the contract, nobody raised an issue. It was after the contract was executed that I think a Norwegian journalist or so raised some issues that had to do with one of the staff.
Right.
After the contract was executed, that a journalist raised some issue with one of the staff working with Ameri. And to the best of my knowledge, that was the issue.
Okay.
But in the process, we went through all the necessary processes. We are open to cooperate with every government institution, but let me just put on record that we would wish the right thing. Let's conduct independent jobs, fair, transparent, acceptable standards, so that all of us would come to the firm conclusion that we are doing what is right. I've just heard this on air.
All right.
In fact, I haven't seen any reports. I haven't been contacted by any committee. Neither has my minister then been contacted, seen any report, or has been asked to even make an input in respect of the investigation. And so we remain calm and...
We're grateful. Thank you very much, Mr. John Jinapor. We will certainly come to you when you're done looking through it or you get some further information. But let me conclude with you, Mr. Ejekumhene. Thank you very much for holding on. I do not know whether you're able to hear what John Jinapor said, but for the fact that the current committee did not, talk to them or contact them in any way before coming up with this final, with their report, raises some concerns. Do you not agree?
I do agree, and I heard everything he said, but it depends on the terms of reference of this committee. If the committee was supposed to review an existing agreement to advise the minister or the presidency on whether or not they have any case to renegotiate this, then they really don't need to contact the previous administration, because the previous, as you heard him saying, they were happy with it, nobody raised objection, but that's not even entirely true, because I know civil society and some experts like as we all raise concerns about it. It wasn't after the deal had been signed. But so if it's not a forensic audit that they're doing, and it's just a matter of taking an existing contract just to see if there's any room for government to renegotiate or cancel the contract, then I don't know how they do their things. I don't think it's out of place for this recommendation to come out. Going forward, I expect that they would invite them to explain why certain things were done before we even dream of canceling any contract. I think I said it before. It's very, very important we don't end up incurring judgment debt. So I like the approach where you have a lawyer looking at it and raising issues. Once the report is out, let's see if we have a strong case. If we do have a strong case, why not? Let's save Ghanaians money. But it is sad that members of parliament would do this. I mean, I understand, whilst in opposition, the MPP said they signed the agreement or they approved the thing before they saw the full details of the agreement. That's very, very
Thank you very much, Mr. Ejekumhene, and we need to make sure for your thoughts on this. We are grateful and thank you very much for talking to us. He is the executive director for the Kumasi Technical Institute, KITE. And Ameri deal that the previous administration signed with Ameri as in the company. The latest we have is that the current Minister of Energy has indicated that government will review all power deals and ensure that Ghana is the beneficiary at the end of the day. There is good value for money. He's been speaking at a press conference.
I don't know who put it out there. But the first thing is it a signed document? If it's not a signed document, It could be speculation, it could be true, it could be speculation. I will suspend judgment until I see the document that has been purportedly put out there, and then we can comment. But I haven't listened to any of the discussions. Yes, indeed, we are reviewing all the power procurement arrangements.